The cowboy raised his brother's children alone, until she came with warm bread and a smile. Cole Trask stood on the ridge, squinting against the twin suns that hung low over the dusty plains of Kepler 74b. The wind carried grit that scratched at his skin and stung his eyes. Beyond the ridge, the small outpost that he called home spread across the barren land. A few metal-roofed huts, solar panels tilted toward the suns, and a scattering of crops struggling in the alien soil. Cole's life had changed dramatically 2 years ago when his brother Jace had died during a mining expedition. The three children, Lily, who was 9, Sam, 7, and tiny Noah, only 4, had been left in Cole's care. At first he had thought it would be impossible. He had grown up as a solitary man, used to silence and hard labor, not the constant questions, laughter, and cries of children. Yet here he was, early every morning making breakfast, checking the water tanks, and ensuring the children had what they needed to survive on this harsh, distant planet. The outpost was quiet now, except for the faint creak of metal in the wind and the distant hum of the solar generators. Cole's eyes scanned the horizon. Supplies were running low. The last cargo shipment had arrived 6 weeks ago, and with no word from the nearest settlement, he worried about food, tools, and even medicine. He rubbed his face, feeling the familiar tension behind his eyes. Inside the main hut, Lily and Sam were at the small wooden table, pretending to have a tea party with Noah's stuffed animals. Noah, oblivious to their small struggles, laughed as he tipped a toy cup over the edge. Cole couldn't help but smile, despite the weight on his shoulders. "Cole, can we go outside today?" Lily asked, her brown eyes wide with excitement. "The sun isn't too high yet. We can play by the ridge." Cole looked at her and sighed. "Not yet, kiddo. I need to finish checking the water filters first. They've been acting up." "But you said we can't stay inside all day," Sam protested, crossing his arms. I know," Cole said, kneeling to Sam's level. "As soon as the filters are fixed, we'll go outside." "Deal." The children nodded, reluctantly returning to their toys. Cole stood and walked toward the corner of the hut where the water filtration system hummed softly. The pipes were covered in dust, and the main filter had a small crack. With careful hands, he adjusted the fittings and sealed the crack with a piece of flexible polymer. It wasn't a perfect fix, but it would hold for now. Afterward, he stepped outside, squinting at the endless plains. The wind had died down a little, and the suns cast long shadows across the outpost. Cole walked toward the small greenhouse where the children's plants grew. Tomatoes, lettuce, and a few hardy alien herbs fought for life in the dry, red soil. He brushed his fingers over the leaves, feeling the warmth of the sun on them. Even in this harsh world, life found a way. "Cole," Lily called from the ridge. "Come see." Cole wiped his hands on his pants and jogged toward the ridge. The children were pointing to something far in the distance, a small glint that shimmered in the sunlight. At first he thought it was a reflection from the rocks, but then he realized it was a cargo shuttle slowly descending toward the outpost. A rare sight indeed. These shuttles came only once every few months, and often the schedule was unpredictable. Cole's heart lifted slightly. Perhaps supplies, perhaps news from the settlement, perhaps someone else to talk to besides him and the children. The shuttle landed with a soft thud, kicking up a small cloud of dust. A ramp extended and a figure appeared carrying a basket. Cole squinted. It was a woman, tall enough to be noticed even from a distance, with a warm smile and hands that moved confidently with the basket. "Who's that?" Sam whispered. "I don't know," Cole said, feeling a mix of curiosity and caution. "Let's find out." By the time he reached the landing site, the woman was already walking toward the children. She carried several loaves of warm bread, the aroma traveling even through the dry air. The children's faces lit up instantly, and Lily ran forward, arms outstretched. "Hello there," the woman said cheerfully. "I'm Amara. I have some bread for you all." Cole stepped closer, his expression cautious. "We're not expecting anyone." Amara smiled at him. "I know. I just came from the settlement nearby. Thought I'd share some food and say hello." The children swarmed around her, taking the bread eagerly. Cole watched, both relieved and wary. In his years of solitude, he had learned to trust only himself. Outsiders could be unpredictable, even dangerous. But something about Amara felt different. She moved with confidence, yet there was kindness in her eyes that put the children at ease immediately. "Thank you," Lily said politely, taking a bite of bread. Sam and Noah nodded enthusiastically, crumbs falling onto the dusty ground. Cole nodded in return. "I'm Cole. This is my home, my family," he added, his voice softening at the sight of the children enjoying themselves. Amara looked at him and smiled again. "Family makes any place feel like home. I can see you're doing a good job here." Cole felt a warmth he hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe having someone else around wasn't so bad after all. After handing out the bread, Amara moved to inspect the outpost. She ran her hands over the solar panels, examined the water tanks, and checked the greenhouse. "You've done well," she said. "But I can help make a few improvements. I have some tools and tech from the settlement." Cole was hesitant. "We're managing fine." "Sometimes," Amara said gently, "managing isn't enough. Life is tough on this planet, but we can make it easier if you let me." Cole studied her, reading her sincerity. After a moment, he nodded. "All right, but just a few things. The kids and I were used to doing most of it ourselves." Amara chuckled softly. "Of course, I wouldn't change that." For the next hour, she helped fix a small leak in the water system and reinforced some of the greenhouse frames. Cole worked alongside her, noticing how she moved with ease and cleverness. The children hovered nearby, asking questions and watching every step. As the suns dipped lower in the sky, Cole felt a strange sense of hope. Perhaps they weren't entirely alone. Perhaps this harsh, lonely world could be brighter with someone else willing to share it with them. When it was time for Amara to leave, she turned to Cole. "I'll come back tomorrow. I'll bring more bread and maybe some seeds for the greenhouse. You've got a good start here, Cole. Don't let it falter." Cole nodded, feeling a small smile tug at his lips. "Thanks, Amara." The shuttle took off into the sky, leaving a streak of light across the twin suns. Cole watched until it disappeared completely. The children sat silently for a moment, still savoring the bread. "Do you think she'll come back?" Lily asked. "I think she will," Cole replied, feeling a warmth in his chest. "And that's all right. We could use a little help." As night fell over the outpost, the winds carrying dust across the plains, Cole stood once more at the ridge. The twin suns had set, and the first stars of Kepler 74b twinkled faintly. Life here was hard, unpredictable, and lonely, but it was theirs. And now, for the first time in a long time, he felt the faint stirrings of hope. The children slept soundly inside the main hut, their dreams safe for now. Cole sat outside, leaning back against the rough wood of the ridge fence, thinking about the future. Tomorrow would bring more work, more challenges, but also perhaps more friends, more laughter, and more bread. For the first time in a long time, Cole felt that maybe, just maybe, everything would be all right. The next morning, the twin suns rose slowly over the plains of Kepler 74b. Cole woke before the children, as he always did, and stepped outside to check the water tanks again. The night had been calm, leaving the air dry and crisp. The red dust of the plains swirled softly in the early sunlight, painting the outpost with an orange glow. Cole noticed something unusual as he walked past the ridge. Tiny footprints led from the landing pad toward the greenhouse. He frowned. The shuttle had long left, and yet someone had clearly been near the crops after dark. He tightened his jaw, feeling a small spark of worry. Inside the hut, the children were already awake. Lily peeked out the window and spotted Cole. "Cole, look, I think she came back," she exclaimed, pointing toward the footprints. Sam and Noah rushed over, curious. Cole studied the tracks. They were fresh. A smile tugged at the corner of his lips despite his concern. "Looks like Amara made another visit," he said. He wasn't entirely sure whether to feel happy or cautious. Outsiders were rare in these parts, and it had been so long since anyone came that even a friendly face felt strange. By mid-morning, the humming of a small shuttle engine announced her arrival. Cole looked up, squinting. The same cheerful figure appeared, carrying a basket and a small crate. Amara's eyes met his, and she waved. "Good morning, everyone," she called. "I brought more bread, some fresh vegetables, and a few small gadgets that might make life easier here." The children ran out to greet her, their laughter echoing across the plains. Cole remained near the ridge, watching quietly. Amara noticed him and nodded in greeting. "I hope you don't mind me coming by," she said, her voice warm. Cole shook his head. "I don't mind, just careful around the children, all right," Amara smiled. "Of course, safety first." After handing out the bread, Amara opened her crate. Inside were small tools, a couple of solar-powered water pumps, and a set of seeds for the greenhouse. She showed the children how the pumps worked, letting them press buttons and turn dials under her supervision. Cole watched as Lily's eyes lit up with curiosity. Sam's small hands worked carefully with the pump, and even Noah poked at the buttons, fascinated by the blinking lights. "See," Amara said, kneeling next to them. "Technology isn't scary. It can help us grow more food, water the plants more efficiently, and make life easier on this planet." Cole stepped forward. "That's all good, but this planet isn't like Earth. Things break, things die. You can't fix everything with buttons." Amara nodded. "True. But sometimes buttons help, and sometimes humans help more." She glanced at Cole with a wink. "We all have our part to play." Cole felt a small warmth at her words. He had spent so long believing he had to do everything alone. Perhaps he didn't have to. The day passed quickly. Cole taught the children how to use the solar pumps properly, while Amara showed them how to plant the new seeds. Lily carefully dug small holes for the seedlings, while Sam and Noah sprinkled water over the soil. Cole watched them work together, noticing how the children laughed and encouraged each other. Even in the harsh conditions of Kepler 74b, life found joy. By mid-afternoon, the suns were high, and the heat pressed down on the outpost. Cole wiped sweat from his brow and looked at the greenhouse. The plants were thriving more than he had expected, thanks to Amara's help. "You did well," he said quietly, almost to himself. Amara overheard him. "You mean us?" she asked. Cole looked at her. "Mostly you," he hesitated, then added, "but the kids helped too." She smiled. "It's a team effort. That's what humans are good at, working together, surviving together, helping each other." Cole nodded slowly. He thought about his brother, about the life he had left behind, and about the children. Perhaps this was the beginning of a new chapter, not just for him, but for all of them. Later, as the sun started to dip toward the horizon, a sudden rumble shook the outpost. Dust rose around the huts and the children froze. Cole grabbed Sam and Lily, pulling them close. Noah whimpered, clinging to his brother's legs. "What's happening?" Lily asked, eyes wide. Cole squinted at the distant ridge. "Storm," he said simply. "Plasma winds, strong, fast. Dangerous. Inside now." Amara jumped into action, ushering the children inside the main hut. "Follow me," she called, her voice calm but firm. Cole followed, closing the doors and securing the windows. The winds howled outside, sending clouds of red dust across the plains. Sparks flew as electricity from the storm interacted with the outpost's metal panels. Cole checked the solar panels quickly, noting that some were damaged. Amara ran to help, her hands steady as she worked alongside him. The children huddled in a corner, watching as the two adults worked. "Are we going to be okay?" Noah asked, his voice trembling. Cole smiled reassuringly, even though he shared the fear. "We've been through worse. Stick close to me, little guy. We'll be fine." Amara glanced at him. "You've done a lot alone, Cole, but even the strongest humans need help sometimes." Cole felt a pang of pride and relief. Perhaps Amara was right. Survival wasn't just about strength or stubbornness. It was about teamwork, about sharing knowledge, about caring for each other. For the next hour, they worked tirelessly, securing panels, reinforcing windows, and ensuring the water tanks were safe. The storm raged, but inside the hut they were a small island of safety. Cole noticed how Amara coordinated the children, giving them small tasks, handing her tools, checking ropes, or simply staying calm. She didn't just help survive the storm, she helped them face it without fear. When the storm finally passed, the air smelled of ionized dust. The suns peeked out through the clouds, casting a soft orange light across the outpost. Cole stepped outside cautiously, checking the damage. Some solar panels were bent. A small section of the greenhouse roof was loose, but overall they had survived. Amara emerged, brushing dust off her clothes. "Not bad," she said with a smile. "You're tougher than I thought, Cole, and your family is remarkable." Cole looked at the children who were helping clean up the scattered tools and debris. "They're learning," he said. "And so am I." Lily ran to him, holding a small, slightly crushed seedling. "Cole, look." "It survived," he smiled, taking it from her hands. "Just like us." As night fell, they gathered around a small fire outside the hut. Amara pulled a loaf of warm bread from her basket, slicing it carefully. The children ate eagerly, laughing at little jokes Cole made to lighten the mood. "You know," Amara said, passing a slice to Cole, "sometimes humans forget how strong we really are. We survive storms, harsh lands, and lonely worlds because we stick together. That's what makes us remarkable." Cole took a bite of bread and looked at her. He thought about his brother, about the outpost, about the children. And for the first time, he felt that maybe, just maybe, the universe wasn't as lonely as it seemed. The fire crackled, casting dancing shadows across the red plains. Above them, the twin suns had set, leaving only stars and distant planets shimmering in the dark sky. Cole felt a quiet sense of hope. The storm had tested them, but they had endured. And with Amara's help, perhaps they could thrive, not just survive. "Tomorrow," Cole said quietly, more to himself than anyone else, "we'll plant those new seeds, and we'll make this outpost even stronger." Amara smiled. "I'll be here. We'll do it together." Cole looked at the children, their faces glowing in the firelight, and finally allowed himself to relax. Life on Kepler 74b was hard, unpredictable, and dangerous. But in that moment, it also felt warm, full of possibility, and shared with people who cared. And for the first time in a long time, he slept that night knowing that he and his little family weren't entirely alone anymore. The morning sun rose slowly over Kepler 74b, casting long orange shadows across the outpost. Cole Trask had been awake for hours, as always, checking the water tanks and scanning the plains for any unusual activity. The storm from the previous day had left its mark. Dust coated every surface, the greenhouse roof sagged slightly, and a few solar panels were bent. But the outpost stood, resilient as ever. Cole's eyes shifted to the ridge. The plains stretched endlessly, quiet now except for the soft hiss of wind against the metal buildings. He turned back to the hut, where the children were already awake, their laughter and chatter filling the small space. Lily, Sam, and Noah were busy sorting through seeds and tools Amara had left behind the previous day. Cole walked over to the greenhouse, brushing the dust off the cracked roof. "We need to reinforce this before the next storm," he muttered to himself. He could hear the children giggling inside, pretending to water the plants while Amara supervised. He smiled quietly, feeling a sense of calm he hadn't known in years. Then he heard a sound he didn't expect, the low hum of the shuttle engine. Squinting at the horizon, he saw Amara landing again, her small shuttle kicking up red dust. Cole felt a mix of relief and curiosity. The outpost had been lonely for far too long, and now it seemed as though someone else truly cared. Amara stepped out, carrying another basket, but this time she looked serious. "Morning, Cole," she called. "We've got work to do. Something came down during the storm last night." Cole frowned. "Something?" Amara nodded, her eyes scanning the plains. A strange fragment glowing faintly. I saw it while flying in. It's from space, probably an asteroid, but it's emitting energy pulses. It could damage your solar panels, your water system, or even be dangerous if it gets too close. Cole's jaw tightened. I'll check it out. The kids stay inside. Amara shook her head. No, this is something we face together. I can guide them safely and we can use it as a learning opportunity. Cole hesitated. He had always been cautious, but Amara's calm confidence reassured him. Slowly, he nodded. All right, let's do it. By mid-morning, they prepared for the expedition. Cole armed himself with tools and protective gear, while Amara fitted the children with small helmets and safety vests. Lily looked nervous but determined. Sam clutched a small toolkit, eager to help, and Noah held tightly to a stuffed animal, whispering to it as if it were giving him courage. They set out across the plains, heading toward the glowing fragment. The dust crunched beneath their boots, and the wind tugged at their clothes. As they approached, Cole could see the fragment hovering slightly above the ground, pulsing with soft, blue energy. Small sparks of electricity danced across its surface, lighting the red dust around it. Cole knelt down, examining it carefully. It's emitting radiation, he said. Nothing deadly yet, but close contact could be dangerous. We need to contain it before it damages the outpost. Amara nodded. We'll build a stabilizer using materials from the outpost. It'll direct the energy away from the buildings and the children. Cole glanced at the children who were watching intently. You three stay close to Amara. Watch and learn. This is how humans solve problems, carefully together. The children nodded, their eyes wide with fascination. Even Noah, usually fussy, watched the strange object with curiosity. Cole and Amara worked quickly, improvising with the materials they had. Cole rigged a magnetic array from spare rover parts, while Amara configured a small control panel to adjust the energy flow. The two worked in silence at first, each trusting the other's skills. This will work, Amara said finally, tightening the last wire. But we need to test it carefully, Cole nodded. We'll activate it slowly. Too much at once and the fragment could destabilize. They both took a step back, keeping the children safe behind a small ridge. Cole activated the stabilizer and the fragment pulsed again, brighter this time. Sparks flew, but the magnetic array held. The energy pulses were redirected into a small trench, away from the outpost. Good, Cole said, breathing a sigh of relief. It's holding. The children cheered, Lily clapping her hands, Sam jumping up and down, and even little Noah letting out a triumphant squeal. Cole smiled at their excitement. See, humans can do amazing things when we work together. Amara laughed softly. Exactly, that's what I like to see. Problem-solving, teamwork, and courage. Cole glanced at her, a mixture of admiration and gratitude in his eyes. I didn't think I needed help, he admitted quietly. Amara shook her head. Everyone needs help sometimes, even the strongest humans. The children gathered around, eager to inspect the stabilizer. Cole explained carefully how it worked, using simple words. Lily listened intently, asking thoughtful questions. Sam tried to repeat the steps with small tools, carefully copying Cole's movements. Even Noah poked at a switch under Amara's supervision, giggling when a small light flashed. Cole watched them, feeling a warmth he hadn't felt in years. This ability to teach, to share knowledge, to work together, was more than survival. It was human strength in its purest form. After the fragment was stabilized, they returned to the outpost, the children chatting excitedly about what they had learned. Cole carried some of the equipment back, while Amara brought the children along, keeping them close. By late afternoon, the outpost was quiet again. The suns hung low, casting long shadows. Cole checked the greenhouse, which had survived the storm with minimal damage. The solar panels were repaired enough to provide power for the night. Life, once again, seemed steady. Amara joined him by the ridge, carrying a small loaf of bread. "You handled that well," she said. "Not just the fragment, but the children too. You're teaching them resilience." Cole took a bite of bread, chewing thoughtfully. "I try, but I've always done things alone." "It's different with you here," Amara smiled. "Good different, I hope. You don't have to be alone all the time. Humans are stronger together, and you've got a good team right here." She nodded toward the children, who were playing with small tools, pretending to fix the outpost as if it were a game. Cole watched them, feeling a sense of peace. For so long, he had believed that survival was about hard work, solitude, and stubbornness. But now he saw that it was also about trust, guidance, and shared effort. Humans didn't just endure, they taught, learned, and grew together. As night fell, the outpost glowed faintly in the soft light of the twin moons. Cole, Amara, and the children gathered by the fire outside the main hut. Amara passed the warm bread around, and they ate together, talking about the day's events. "Tomorrow," Cole said quietly, "we'll strengthen the greenhouse and plant the new seeds, and I think we can handle whatever comes next." Amara nodded, placing a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We will, together." The children leaned against him, sleepy but happy. Lily rested her head on his shoulder. Sam sat close to his side, and little Noah cuddled a stuffed animal, murmuring about sparks and lights. Cole felt a deep sense of pride and connection. He wasn't just a caretaker. He was a teacher, a guide, and part of a family that had grown stronger through challenges. The night was calm, the twin moons reflecting on the dusty plains. Cole sat quietly, staring at the stars, thinking about the fragment, the storm, and the strange, glowing world around them. Life here was harsh, unpredictable, and sometimes frightening, but it was also full of discovery, wonder, and human strength. For the first time in a long time, Cole felt ready for the future. With Amara's help and the children by his side, he knew they could face any challenge. Humans were resilient, clever, and courageous, and together they were unstoppable. He smiled softly, watching the children sleep inside the hut, safe and dreaming of strange planets, glowing fragments, and adventures yet to come. And he knew, without a doubt, that whatever dangers Kepler-74b might throw at them, they would survive, and even thrive, because humans always found a way. The suns of Kepler-74b rose slowly over the plains, painting the outpost in warm orange and red tones. Cole Trask was already awake, checking the stabilizer he had built for the glowing fragment yesterday. The energy pulses had calmed, but the fragment still hovered faintly above the desert sands, glowing softly in shades of blue and silver. It was beautiful and dangerous. Cole knew he couldn't ignore it. If the fragment drifted closer to the outpost, it could destroy the solar panels, disrupt the water system, or even cause more serious damage. He had survived storms, dust, and alien weather, but this was something new. Amara's small shuttle appeared on the horizon, and she waved as she landed. "Good morning, Cole. Ready to tackle today's problem?" Cole nodded, adjusting his tool belt. "We need to secure the fragment properly. Yesterday's stabilizer works, but it's only a temporary fix. I want a more permanent solution before another storm hits or it drifts closer." Amara jumped down from the shuttle, her smile calm but determined. "I brought a few extra parts from the settlement, some shielding panels and reinforcement rods. If we combine them with the stabilizer, we can make a strong containment system." Cole glanced at the children, who were already awake and curious. "Stay close to Amara and don't touch anything unless she says it's safe," he instructed. "Yes, Cole," Lily said, adjusting her small helmet. Sam nodded, gripping his mini toolkit tightly, and Noah hugged his stuffed animal. They set out across the plains, the dust crunching beneath their boots. The fragment pulsed faintly, sending small sparks into the air. Cole studied it carefully. Its energy seemed to react to movement and touch, but Amara explained that it was a natural energy field, similar to magnetism. If handled carefully, it could be controlled. If mishandled, well, it could be dangerous. Cole and Amara began assembling the containment system. Cole used spare rods from the outpost and old rover parts to build a frame around the fragment. Amara adjusted the shielding panels, connecting wires to the stabilizer they had built yesterday. Together they worked in silence at first, their movements synchronized. The children watched intently, asking questions now and then. "Why does it glow like that?" Sam asked, his eyes wide. "It's energy," Amara explained patiently. "All matter has energy, but some things have it in ways we can see and feel. This fragment is one of those things. It's like a tiny star trapped in rock." Lily looked thoughtful. "So it's alive, kind of." Amara laughed softly. "Not alive, not exactly. But it has a presence and we have to respect it." Cole glanced at the fragment and nodded. He liked how she explained things simply, without fear or exaggeration. The children were learning, and so was he. As they worked, the fragment pulsed suddenly, brighter than before. Sparks shot out, hitting the rods and panels. Cole jumped back, shouting, "Steady, don't let it touch the metal directly." Amara quickly adjusted a panel, redirecting the energy. "Careful," she said. "It's sensitive to sudden changes. Move slowly." Cole took a deep breath and adjusted his grip. "Got it." He guided a rod carefully, locking it into place. Slowly, the containment system took shape, a protective frame surrounding the glowing fragment, keeping its energy directed away from the outpost. Hours passed. The suns moved across the sky and the wind picked up again, swirling dust across the plains. The children stayed close, helping in small ways under Amara's guidance, handing tools, holding ropes, or simply observing. Cole noticed how quickly they were learning to work as a team, combining brains and hands to solve problems. Finally, the system was complete. Cole activated the stabilizer, and the fragment pulsed once, then settled into a steady, gentle glow. The energy flowed safely into the containment frame, leaving the outpost unharmed. Cole exhaled, wiping sweat from his forehead. "It worked," he said, a mix of relief and pride in his voice. Amara smiled, looking at the children. "You all did a great job. You were careful, brave, and smart. That's what humans do, they face the unknown and figure it out." Lily grinned. "We helped." "Exactly," Cole said, ruffling her hair. "Everyone has a part to play. Today you all learned something important, how to solve a problem safely and work as a team." The children beamed with pride. Even little Noah clapped his hands, squealing happily. As they packed up and headed back to the outpost, Cole felt a quiet sense of trust growing between him and Amara. He had always been solitary, believing he could do everything alone. But now he realized that strength wasn't just about surviving. It was about letting others help, about teaching, and about learning together. Back at the outpost, Cole inspected the greenhouse and the solar panels. Thanks to Amara's help, everything was in working order. The new seeds she had brought were carefully planted, their small green shoots promising life and food for the coming weeks. "Tomorrow, we'll check the water filters and reinforce the ridge," Cole said. "There's always something to do out here, but for now, I think we can rest." Amara nodded, placing a warm loaf of bread on the table. "We've earned it. Even humans need time to relax and enjoy what we've built." Cole looked at the children, who were already nibbling on the bread, their laughter echoing softly through the outpost. He felt a deep sense of contentment. This family, teamwork, survival was what made humans remarkable. Not just strength, not just intelligence, but the ability to care, teach, and support one another in the face of danger. As night fell, the twin moons rose, casting silver light across the dusty plains. Cole, Amara, and the children gathered around a small fire outside the hut. Cole watched the stars twinkle above, thinking about the fragment, the storm, and the strange, glowing world they lived in. Life was hard here, yes, but it was also full of wonder and possibility. Amara broke the quiet, her voice soft but steady. "You know, Cole, humans are incredible. We survive storms, face unknown dangers, and build families even in the harshest places. That's what makes us strong. Cole nodded, taking a bite of bread. I think I'm beginning to see that, he admitted. Especially with help and with these kids. He glanced at Lily, Sam, and Noah, who were leaning on Amara and smiling. I never thought I'd see this kind of teamwork and trust. Amara placed a hand on his shoulder. It's the human way. You teach, you learn, and you survive together. That's what makes us special. Cole smiled quietly. For the first time in years, he felt truly at peace. He had faced storms, energy fragments, and the harshness of a distant planet. And yet, here he was, stronger and more connected than ever. The children yawned, sleepy but happy. Lily rested against Cole, Sam leaned on Amara, and Noah clutched his stuffed animal, murmuring about sparks and lights. Cole felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't known in years. This was more than survival. This was life, full of hope, learning, and human courage. As the fire crackled and the moons reflected on the dusty plains, Cole knew that whatever challenges Kepler 74b would bring, they were ready. Humans were clever, resilient, and brave, and together they could face anything. Tomorrow would bring new work, new problems, and perhaps new discoveries. But tonight they rested, together. And in that rest they found strength, hope, and the quiet joy of being a family united against the unknown. Cole looked at the stars, smiling. No matter how lonely the universe seemed, humans always found a way to thrive, survive, and care for one another. And that, he thought, was the greatest strength of all. The twin suns of Kepler 74b rose slowly over the plains, casting long orange and red shadows across the outpost. Cole Trask stood at the ridge, scanning the horizon. The fragment they had stabilized days ago still pulsed softly in the desert sands, its gentle glow a reminder of both danger and wonder. Today would be important. The temporary stabilizer had kept the fragment in place, but a permanent solution was needed. Cole had spent hours planning, consulting notes from his brother, and listening to Amara's suggestions. This mission was not just about survival, it was about thriving, about making the outpost stronger and safer for the children. Amara's shuttle hummed in the distance, landing softly on the dust-covered pad. She stepped out, her smile calm and determined. "Morning, Cole. Are you ready?" Cole nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be. We need to move carefully." One mistake and the fragment could destabilize again. The children were already awake, helping gather tools and small supplies. Lily carried a box of wires, Sam had a small toolkit, and little Noah held his stuffed animal while walking beside Cole. "We're ready too," Lily said cheerfully. Cole smiled, ruffling her hair. "I know, but remember, stay with Amara, watch and learn." Together they set out toward the fragment. The dust crunched under their boots and the wind carried the faint scent of the red plains. Cole studied the fragment as they approached. Its glow was stronger today, pulsing like a heartbeat, small arcs of energy dancing across its surface. Amara spoke softly. "It's reacting to the change in the atmosphere. That's normal. We just need to stay calm and adjust our approach carefully." Cole nodded. "All right, let's build the containment system around it, permanent this time." Hours passed as they worked. Cole used sturdy rods, recycled panels, and rover parts to create a strong framework. Amara adjusted energy channels and sensors, ensuring the fragment's pulses would be safely redirected. The children helped in small ways, passing tools, holding ropes, and observing carefully. "Careful with that wire," Cole warned Sam, watching him mimic Amara's movements. "The energy can spike suddenly." "Yes, Cole," Sam replied, adjusting his grip with determination. Lily asked questions about the fragment, fascinated by the glowing rock. Amara explained patiently, using simple language and comparisons to things they already knew. The children listened intently, absorbing every word. Finally, the containment system was complete. Cole stepped back, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Moment of truth," he muttered. Amara activated the stabilizer. The fragment pulsed brightly, then settled into a steady glow. Sparks danced harmlessly along the panels, redirected safely into the ground. The system held. Cole exhaled deeply. We did it. The children cheered, jumping up and down, their faces glowing with pride. Even Noah clapped, squealing happily. Cole smiled, feeling a warmth he hadn't known in years. Amara grinned. See, humans face the unknown and find a way. That's what makes us strong. Cole nodded, feeling the truth of her words deep in his chest. He had spent so long believing he had to do everything alone. But today, he realized that strength wasn't just about surviving. It was about working together, teaching and learning. They returned to the outpost as the suns dipped toward the horizon. Cole inspected the greenhouse and solar panels, which had survived the wind and dust. Amara checked the water system, making small adjustments. The children carried extra tools back to the hut, proud of their part in the day's work. Tomorrow, Cole said quietly, we'll plant the new seeds and strengthen the ridge, but tonight we rest. Amara nodded, placing a warm loaf of bread on the table. We've earned it. Even humans need to enjoy the fruits of their labor. They gathered outside the hut, sitting around a small fire. The children ate eagerly, talking about the fragment, the containment system, and their own small contributions. Cole and Amara shared a quiet smile, watching the children's joy. You know, Amara said softly, humans are incredible. We survive storms, face unknown dangers, and teach the next generation to do the same. That's what makes us remarkable. Cole nodded, taking a bite of bread. I'm beginning to see that, he admitted. Especially with help and with these kids. He looked at Lily, Sam, and Noah, who were laughing and sharing crumbs of bread. I never thought I'd see this kind of teamwork and trust. Amara placed a hand on his shoulder. It's the human way. You teach, you learn, and you survive together. That's what makes us strong. Cole smiled quietly, feeling a sense of peace. For so long, he had thought survival meant hard work, solitude, and stubbornness. But now he understood. Survival and life meant connection, learning, and courage shared among family and friends. The children grew sleepy, leaning on him and Amara. Lily rested her head on Cole's shoulder, Sam leaned on Amara, and little Noah clutched his stuffed animal, murmuring about sparks and lights. Cole felt a warmth in his chest he hadn't known in years. This was more than survival. This was life. Night fell fully, and the twin moons reflected their silver light across the red plains. Cole sat quietly, staring at the stars, thinking about the fragment, the storm, and the strange, glowing world they lived in. Life was harsh, unpredictable, and sometimes frightening, but it was also full of wonder, hope, and human strength. Amara spoke softly. You've taught them well, Cole. They're brave, clever, and resourceful, just like you. Cole looked at her, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. I couldn't have done it without you, he admitted. I've learned that humans don't have to do everything alone. Together, we're stronger. Amara smiled. Exactly. And now you have a family, a team, and a future. That's the greatest strength of all. Cole watched the children, now sleeping peacefully inside the hut. They had faced storms, energy fragments, and harsh conditions. And yet, here they were, safe, happy, and full of curiosity. They had learned resilience, ingenuity, and the importance of teamwork. Cole finally allowed himself to relax. Life on Kepler 74b was hard, unpredictable, and full of challenges. But it was also filled with discovery, joy, and human courage. And with Amara's help, he knew they could face anything. The twin moons reflected in the still desert, the stars twinkling softly overhead. Cole stood and stretched, feeling the weight of the day but also the warmth of accomplishment. He looked at the glowing fragment in the distance, now safely contained, and smiled. Tomorrow, he whispered, we keep building, we keep learning, and we keep growing together. Amara joined him, carrying another warm loaf of bread. I'll be here. We'll face everything together. Cole nodded. Yes, together. The children stirred, mumbling in their sleep. Cole and Amara chuckled softly. The outpost was quiet now, but life pulsed in every corner: greenhouse, water tanks, solar panels, and hearts of those who lived there. The night was calm. The twin moons glowed, the stars twinkled, and the desert seemed to stretch forever. And for the first time in years, Cole felt a deep certainty. No matter how lonely the universe might seem, humans always found a way to survive, thrive, and care for each other. He turned to Amara, who smiled and handed him a slice of warm bread. They ate in quiet companionship, sharing warmth, trust, and hope. Around them, the children slept peacefully, dreaming of glowing fragments, distant planets, and adventures yet to come. Cole looked out across the plains, the ridge silhouetted against the twin moons, and thought about the journey so far. Storms survived, fragments contained, and the growing bond between family and friends. Humans were clever, resilient, and courageous. Together, they could face any challenge, solve any problem, and create a life worth living, even on a distant, harsh planet. And with that thought, Cole Trask, the children, and Amara watched the horizon, feeling the promise of tomorrow, the strength of humanity, and the quiet joy of a family forged through courage, ingenuity, and love. The desert was vast. The universe was unpredictable. But humans always found a way.